What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Tasty Tuesday on Tasty Loot Gaming, the show where we talk about gaming news. My name's Seth.
And I'm Chevy.
And Chevy is joining us via the internet. He's in Hawaii right now. We tried to do video, but the connection was very spotty, so we figure it'd be better off if we just did the audio because he comes in a lot clearer. So hopefully you guys don't mind. He's here, but, we got Shin-Chan joining us on the show. Chevy, how's your trip so far? How's Hawaii? How you liking things? And give us a little tidbit on that.
Sure. It was a long flight. It was 6 hours. Spent the first day mostly getting our rent-a-car, getting to the condo, and then it was pretty late by that point, so we just kind of hung out. I've been to the the Botanical Garden on the east side of the Big Island, and I have been to the Volcanic National Park, which I believe is the southeast part of the island now. We're going to Kona tomorrow, or as of you guys watching this today. So,
And what's there?
I don't know.
About to find out.
I'm literally just going and exploring. I think there's I know there's a shopping center we're going to go check out. And then other than that, there's a couple landmarks I know that my girlfriend and her mom went to show me. And then the big two they wanted to make sure I saw, though, was the garden and the volcano. And I saw them, and they were both very impressive. So
They were saying the crater was huge.
Yeah, it's crazy because they just reopened the park because it had gone off, for a while. So
I think Dale
park's
said
only been
that.
open. It just opened. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why he knows.
There's certain paths you can go down right now. But I mean, I'll have a bunch of pictures. If people join the Discord, actually, I might post them in there as well. So.
Yeah, which is a great segue to let you guys know that we have a Discord link down below. Hit the link, join us anytime, talk to us all the time. And we're on Spotify and iTunes and other podcast platforms. If you'd prefer to listen to us, do that. And if you're listening to us and you want to watch us on YouTube, come to Tasty Loot Gaming. And you only have a week left to play Destiny 2 and God of War 3 on PlayStation Plus. Join us at the end of the week for Plus Club. We'll be talking about our impressions of those games. Let us know yours. And our game of the month is Deep Rock Galactic. Make sure to play that. And we will also be talking about that at the end of the week for Game of the Month. And we'll be choosing a Game of the Month. And I think we'll be doing those shows Saturday and Sunday. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have 3 bits of news. 2 of them are pretty similar, so it's gonna be kind of a downer of an episode. But first bit of news is Valve is going to start moderating Steam comments in individual game discussions. Valve has announced that the company will start moderating comments on individual game discussions. Previously, Valve only moderated Steam's screenshots, artwork, guides, user profiles, community groups, and user reviews. Valve wrote in a post on their Steam blog, in the past, we've been hesitant to get involved in the moderation of individual game discussions, as we didn't want to step on the toes of game developers that want to have their own style of communication with players and their own set of guidelines for behavior. But over time, we've been hearing from more and more game developers that would actually prefer for us to take a more active role in discussion boards, at least to the extent of handling posts that are reported by other players. It's worth noting that Valve will not be searching for stuff. They will not be actively hunting down bad stuff. They're going to be working off of a pure just reporting system. If there's enough reports of something, they'll look into it and moderate accordingly. So what do we think about Valve changing how they do things and looking into discussions and moderating?
Well, I mean, it's kind of funny to hear because they recently kind of opened the floodgates for letting people release whatever games they wanted on the platform, and now they're turning around and doing increasing the moderation. I almost feel like they should perhaps just make an opt-in and opt-out system for developers, and then moderate those in which the developers have asked for help, and then the ones who haven't, don't worry about. So
That's a good suggestion for sure. I was just gonna say about this, like it kind of 2018 to make sense. People are a lot more active about essentially, you know, policing things and making sure people's feelings aren't getting hurt or whatever. And there's obviously some people out there who are just shitty. So I'm not opposed to, you know, making sure really shitty people, you know, are taken care of, I guess. But at the same time, a lot of people are going really extreme. I think this is a pretty fair system. Most things have a reporting system to them. I mean, you go on Xbox
Right.
Live, you go on PSN, you can report people on anything. You can report people, and if there's enough reports, typically something can be done, a suspension or whatever. So I feel like they're going that route, which is nice. Not like the whole, you know, Twitter. Somebody says you're being an asshole and you get banned for 12 hours thing. So it's I think the responsible choice, but I think your suggestion is a good one because it seemed like they had a philosophy before and. I kind of like that idea that Steam was more like individual communities and not a overall community. And so those
Yeah.
individual communities could kind of like Reddit can kind of take care of things on their own. Obviously, something ever got really bad, it could make its way there. But for people to be able to opt into that kind of monitoring, I think is a good idea.
Well, yeah, especially if the game's community pages are based off of the developer. Um,
Mm,
you know, you're going to have someone like, I don't know, let's say Devolver Digital, who probably doesn't give a crap.
yeah.
And then you'll have bigger companies like EA and stuff like that who might just not want to deal with their own resources in it,
Mm,
and they would ask Valve to take care of it. So
yeah. Yeah. And I could see like a company like Don't Nod or something being a little more proactive on, you know, having things ran a little tighter.
for sure,
So,
yeah,
um,
I do think they're handling it well, though. I agree with you on that for sure, and I
yeah,
think that at the end of the day, moderation is such a tricky topic, anyways. Um, and I don't think you're always going to be able to please everyone. So, but this is, I think, a very safe direction.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think this is about as far as I'd like to see them go with the idea of moderation. I'm not against it, but I don't want them to go too far in the sense of trying to please a smaller group of people than like most people who don't care about most things.
Right.
So I still think there should be some freedom to say most things. If you're saying, you know, if you're harassing people and you're saying really fucked up shit a lot, you know, something should be done about it. But yeah, the way they handled it before I thought was fine. And it's interesting too. They said that there's been an increase, a bigger demand for that recently, which I think speaks on the whole social political climate right now. You
Climate,
know, I
yeah.
don't think things are getting worse. I think people are more perceptive and more paying attention to things that bother them, and I think some people are also using that to troll harder, I guess. So,
Well, and you got to take the consideration of a business or a company.
yeah.
You know, they don't want to be put in a position where you know they have to deal with a public relations issue. So it just kind of makes sense for them to stay with the time culture and the times and whatnot in that
Mm,
regard, business wise. So
yeah. That's a slippery slip as well because there's already some companies who are trying
well,
to be
aggressively pushing, yeah,
yeah, trying to be a little overly PC and it's backfiring on them. So, but they're telling
for sure.
their customers to go fuck themselves. So, it's not a smart thing to do in business ever.
I would say that it's just as bad as the trolls at that point, though. They're
Huh.
just on
Yeah,
the other
they're
side.
definitely trolling as
Yeah.
well in their own way. That's pretty sure I think I got to say on that. Anything else you want to say on that?
No, I'll ramble. I've been drinking, so
Yeah, that's fine. Let's know in the comments what do you think about Steam moderating. Individual comments now. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Tell me why you think that. Do you like Shelly's suggestion of kind of opting into that? Do you want to go back to how it was? Let me know everything you're thinking about when it comes to Steam. Do you use Steam? Are you a PC player? Do you play on console primarily? And you're like, I don't give a shit about what the fuck's going on there. I want to play goddamn whatever the hell you're playing. Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption's coming out soon. Whatever. Let me know everything you're thinking about when it comes to that. Second bit of news, Capcom has shut down the Dead Rising and Puzzle Fighter mobile developer, Capcom Vancouver. Let's see. Capcom Vancouver has been shut down. The studio, which has or was best known for its work on Dead Rising series and the short-lived Puzzle Fighter mobile game, has ceased operations effective today, September 18th. So that was of September 18th, and its current projects have been canceled. It is quoted in saying, Capcom is currently reviewing the allocation of its development resources that support the production of world-class content. To support this objective, new R&D facilities and annual hiring have been underway at the Osaka headquarters in consideration of this process as a result of reviewing titles in the development at Capcom Vancouver. Capcom has decided to cancel the development of projects at this studio and will concentrate development of major titles in Japan. As part of this overall direction, the CV studio will suspend operations effective today, so the current staff will be laid off and the office will be closed. We appreciate the hard work and contributions of the studio team members in creating unforgettable gameplay experiences for Dead Rising series and Puzzle Fighter. Yeah, so it's also worth noting, too, that back in February, 30% of their workforce was laid off already, and they started ceasing support for Puzzle Fighter Mobile in April. So what do we think about them shutting the studio down? What do we think about how they handled it? And do you think it's good? Not well, of course you don't think it's good, but how do you feel about how they, more so how they handled it? Do you think it's fair of them to have essentially laid everyone off and stop development of everything they were doing? Because I mean, these guys made all the Dead Rising games.
I'll say what it sounds like to me is that obviously the company wasn't bringing in enough profits, and obviously I don't know what their profit margin was if they had one. Maybe they weren't making any money at all. Maybe they're losing money. But I find that hard to believe. I think there's enough people who like Dead Rising that they probably made money off it. But I do also think it's a very niche title. I think there is a handful of the gaming community who enjoys that series enough that if they've kept following it. That being said, it doesn't sound malicious. It just sounds like a business decision.
Yeah.
And that might sound cold, but that's the way the world works, I'm afraid. I feel bad for the developers, obviously, and I hope they find work. Most companies are really good about hiring people from companies that have closed down. So, hopefully they get like a severance package and they have time to find work and move and whatnot. So,
yeah.
But other than that, I don't think they're handling it super bad. It sounds like business is a business decision, and it sounds like it almost sounds like they kind of knew it was coming. So, especially with them downsizing and then closing doors, and
Yep.
so I don't know.
I agree with what you're saying. The way they handled it, I think it's like the base minimum of how you should handle something like this. There's no fluff talk, which I appreciate, because that's something you see a lot of times when negative things happen. They will try and talk it up or talk about how we really tried and blah blah blah. There's like, we had to shut it down. We had to lay off people. Like there's no fluff talk here. It's just straight up facts. It does really suck. It sucks, but I'm not surprised considering Dead Rising, and I like Dead Rising 4. I beat it. I did a review on this channel if you want to go watch that. I think I gave it a pretty good review. I enjoyed it. I don't know a whole lot of people who played that game, or at least talked about it. So, and I thought it was I think it's the best one of the series. That whole series has kind of gone down. I mean, Dead Rising 3 didn't do very well, which was also a Xbox exclusive when it first released, which I think a lot of times hurts games like this. Every time I see a game that will eventually become, on all platforms, if it's really like Titanfall came out on Xbox, the original Titanfall. and it didn't
Right.
do the numbers they wanted. It also came out on PC, of course, but like I think that's a detriment to it. The puzzle fighter thing, I have no idea. I don't play mobile games a whole lot, but yeah, I think it's just tough. The game was high quality. It was made well. I really enjoyed it. But I don't think it sold the numbers that it needed to. It's just kind of crazy that this doesn't even sound like they did so bad that they had to shut it down. It sounds like they even use the word allocation. It sounds like somebody in upper management was looking at where their weaknesses were and they're cleaning house.
For sure. I mean, it sounds like because right now I would say Capcom is on a really good rise
Yeah,
on
100%.
on their products,
Yeah.
and they're probably trying to keep that going, keep that focus going.
Hmm.
And so to
More
keep
Monster
that
Hunter.
focus going, they want to get rid of the distractions almost.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, kind of like H1Z1 getting rid of its survival mode and
and Fortnite, not Fortnite,
Paragon.
Paragon.
Yeah, and Paragon, which really fucking sucks, but it every company at some point has to start cutting off fat to
Yep.
be lean and just a stronger machine. I think that's one thing Activision does really well is they don't offer a lot of games compared to like an Ubisoft.
Or an EA, or
Yeah.
yeah.
They don't spread themselves out. They just have some really big fucking titles and they drive them into the goddamn ground. Whereas, EA has like so many games. Ubisoft, I think, is the best at it. They have a lot of games and they're all really good. But, they still have some problems there. So Capcom, like you said, they're on an upswing right now and they are a big developer and they're starting to take risks a little bit with like Mega Man.
For
And
sure.
Devil May Cry 5 is coming out. They're doing a remake of Resident Evil 2. So they're starting to take
Yep.
risks. So it does seem like this is a transitional period that might benefit Capcom in
Yes.
general, which I'm looking forward to. Capcom being a better company again. Because like Square, and they've fixed themselves as well. I had my disagreements with the companies and how they're ran. So this really sucks. The best thing I can hope for is because I hope this is for something. I hope Capcom does just nail it with all these games they're coming out with. Monster Hunter World was obviously amazing, but I really, really, really hope the people from Capcom Vancouver all find jobs somewhere
Oh yeah.
because
For
this
sure.
is really shitty, and obviously people losing their jobs sucks. Luckily, the games industry seems to be very aware and very supportive when these things happen.
Yeah, I mean, I even saw what's his name, Corey from the God of War team, Santa Monica. There we
Barlog,
go.
yeah.
Yeah, he after the Telltale one,
Hmm.
he immediately was like, "Hey, use this hashtag and this link or whatever. We're hiring, blah blah blah," type thing. D did as well, Digital Extremes, if you're unfamiliar. And then yeah, a lot of companies, and it's crazy. And it's actually really advantageous for the other companies to do that anyways, because they could find some talent to fit into a place that maybe they're a little weak in. So
For sure. Yeah. I mean, when this happens, and the thing that sucks is I know everybody from that company isn't finding something, but I hope most of them do. But it is kind of a weird way to like reshuffle the talent in gaming or game development because maybe someone
yeah,
who's really good at something was not being fully utilized in Dead Rising and might find something, making the same series over and over again can get old too. So, I mean, I'm trying to find some optimistic way to look at losing your
for
job.
sure. Um, you know, and like I said, I don't mean to sound cold, but this really just does sound like a business decision with no malice. It's not the word I necessarily want, but you know, they're doing it because they obviously feel they need to financially, and that sucks for the human beings
Hmm.
involved in the working force. But a company is a company, and they're there to make profit, and that's just the way it is.
This is true. It's pretty much as much as I got to say on it. Uh, Pretty much to surmise the whole thing. Hopefully this benefits Capcom. If this is the route they're going, it really sucks they had to do it. I would really like to see a Dead Rising again. And in the best world possible, I'd love to see the people who are working on it get to work on it and not lose their jobs, because that's awful. Hopefully everybody who lost their jobs find something different, find something that's equally meaningful for them to do, and things work out for everybody. But right now it's going to be really shitty for them. And I will miss Dead Rising because I started liking it again at 4, and now it's shut down. So not a good time to get back into the series. Anything else you want to say on it, Chevy?
It covers it, I think.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about this? What do you think about Dead Rising essentially being canceled? Any projects that Capcom Vancouver was working on being canceled? Did you play Puzzle Fighter Mobile? I didn't even know it was a thing. So obviously the advertising was not that great. And what do you think about this whole situation? Do you think Capcom's in the right? Do you understand where they're coming from? Do you think it's really fucked up that they did this? Let me know everything you're thinking about when it comes to Capcom and Capcom Vancouver. Similar news and last bit of news. Everyone at this point probably already knows, because it's been a much higher profile situation like this, and a huge surprise to almost everyone I've talked to. And as of recording, this story keeps evolving. So if I say something and it's not true now, let me know in the comments where we're at with this. But Telltale Games is effectively shut down. They've gotten rid of almost all the people who worked at Telltale, except for 20 people.
Yep.
As I've read, they are going to continue working on Minecraft stories. They, as I've read, canceled continuing the last season of The Walking Dead, but then I just read that there are people who are interested in trying to help them finance finishing that last season. So that's still up in the air. Their Stranger Things game that they're working on for Netflix, Netflix still wants somebody to make, but it won't be them. And yeah, there's a lot of shit, a lot of confusion in the air, but they are shutting down completely. They are finishing out everything so far, and then it will be kaput. But there's 20 people who are going to be stretched really thin. There's a lot of things going on. People talking about why this happened. There was some stuff about Telltale and how they started running the company after they met huge success. They weren't able to meet the demand. People were being worked way too hard. I've heard a lot about that. There's all the Twitter fiasco shit where people were starting to bring social politics into Telltale's games. And when people start asking questions, very similar to EA, people at Telltale started making fun of their fan base. So obviously that didn't help. And then also the co-founder Dan Connors explained that financing just got canceled out of nowhere. So they didn't actually, according to him, I don't know if I believe him 100%, but he said they pretty much had no way to fix this. It is IDG Ventures and Granite Ventures who were their major financiers, and then they also had Lionsgate Entertainment, who was going to finance their next game, and they just pulled out of nowhere. So that may be related to some of their PR stuff, maybe some of their decisions, or some of the information coming out that they're overworking their company. All in all, it sounds like a fucking clusterfuck, and it's really interesting that this all just built up without people really hearing about it, and then they just shut down. So that's a lot of stuff to take in, and if I missed anything, let me know in the comments. There's a lot to this, and Chevy, if there's anything you want to add to that, let me know as well. But what do you think about, first off, Telltale Games shutting down? Really influential and big company, in my opinion, for such a small company, for what they accomplished. What do you think about how quickly they did it? What do you think about the reasoning, and your overall thoughts of what they've done and what we're not getting anymore?
Okay. Well, first off, them shutting down, as far as the product aspect of it, is a really big shame, because they have really kind of carved their own little spot in the adventure game market. They were kind of the ones who recreated
I'd
it,
argue they owned it.
revitalized it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And due to whatever financial decisions supposedly did or did not happen, That's gone because of bad business decisions, which
Yeah.
is exactly what it sounds like. It sounds like somebody at Telltale who is in control of where money's coming from, how money is spent, and how resources are distributed throughout the company uh, didn't really know what the hell they were doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's even worth mentioning, too, that the former CEO, Kevin Bruner,
Left.
left the company because he was clashing with the board of directors on the
Yeah,
future of the company.
that was a while ago, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, because I remember because he came out and made a statement about it. He said just the company grew too fast and he just didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, I remember us covering that a long time ago. And at
Yes,
that time, it was more like, oh, wow, that guy's leaving. That's kind of interesting. But now it kind of makes sense.
it does. So it sounds like the management is really kind of the key fault here. You can blame people pulling out finances to an extent, but at the end of the day, you didn't think that might happen. Is kind of a
When
strange
they
thing,
pulled out for a reason. They didn't do it because they were just
right?
like, I don't feel like it anymore. Like they had to have
No,
went like this isn't a good
if I'm
investment.
giving you money for something
Yeah.
and I start feeling uneasy about it for whatever reason, whether it be your social presence or I feel your product is doing worse or is becoming inferior, uh, that's my decision as the investor. And if you, as the person making that product, don't realize that that is a possibility, that's just complete ignorance and really kind of unexcusable.
Yeah. No,
So,
first off, before I get into this, because I've been watching a couple of videos of people talking about the inner politics of the company, I want to say it's awful that they are closing down. They did it so abruptly. Um, it really sucks because The Walking Dead season one, I think, is an amazing game.
100%.
It brought back narrative driven games, adventure games, to a level I'd never seen. The episodic nature worked for them. They did a really good job with it, and the story is really good. The game was made really well. I've liked other games theirs too. I liked The Wolf Among Us a lot. I'm kind of upset that I'm not going to get a season two of that because I was looking forward to that. I really liked the first season. The rest of The Walking Dead season two, I really liked. I've played a little bit of the third one. And yeah, if they don't complete the last one, I really, I'm not invested in it, but it really sucks for anybody who is. So yeah, I am a fan of them, even with some of the series I don't like of theirs. They weren't bad. They just weren't for me. That's the thing that was kind of great about them is they had all these different games that did what they do for everybody, which is kind of cool. But when I'm reading about the information and hearing people talk about this, it literally sounds like some people even are equating it to they got lucky with season one of The Walking Dead. And after that, they know what to do with the success, which is a possibility. But I think it's a little less luck and more the money rolling in started changing the way they started thinking about how to run the company. Because after that, you start seeing a lot of different projects being worked on all at the same time. Now we're hearing people were being way overworked, which happens in game development actually quite often. I mean, you look at like Crytek and like the fucking crazy situation that was going on there. People were like saying they haven't been paid and they can't get access to the buses they were taking to get to work and they're staying and sleeping in the offices and shit. Really crazy shit. So it's not rare for that to happen. And then regardless of where you stand on the politics of anything or the social politics of anything, there's a lot of instances on Twitter where people who are running the Twitter for Telltale, I don't know who the person's position was in the company, they were getting asked questions about how the games were being made now. And I remember reading one of the tweets, a person had put a typo in their response to Telltale, and Telltale in capitals, all caps, just typed out their typo. They didn't respond to them, they just made fun of them. That doesn't look good to anybody except for people who are backing their opinion, but you shouldn't be arguing and clashing with the people who give you money. It's not, if you want to do that, do it outside of the company. But if you want your company to be successful, you can't sit there and talk shit to the people who want to give you money. It's you won't be successful. So that's definitely not helpful. Also, I haven't noticed it, but I've heard it. People are saying their later games were starting to lack in quality. I don't know. I can't back that. But if that's true, it sounds like it just turned into a clusterfuck at that company.
Yeah. No, and I was today, while traveling around, I was on Twitter, and there was a ex-dev at this point of the company saying that it has been essentially hell there, and that the amount of overtime they've worked, the company doesn't have any money. He's not getting paid.
Which is something you hear a lot. I mean, I know Team Bondi, before they went under, were having a lot of issues with Rockstar or Take-Two.
Yeah, well, it's just funny because not haha funny, obviously.
Yeah,
but
ironic funny.
Yeah, he's like, just for anyone out there, never work overtime for free. Just don't ever do it. Make sure you're getting paid.
It's good advice. So, yeah, I won't do anything for fucking. I won't ever work for somebody for free. I mean, if it's a friend, I'd help them, but.
And this sounds shitty, but it's just the truth of the matter. Even a really great company that wants to do well by its employees and stuff like that, at the end of the day, are just going to look out for itself, right?
Definitely. It's a business.
You at that point become an afterthought. And you need to realize that is a possibility. So if you are uncomfortable with the possibility that you might get screwed over, doing something you feel, oh, well, I'm doing nice and they'll make it right. That's not how the world works.
Definitely.
Take care of yourself, type of thing. I mean, this whole situation is really crappy in every way.
It's very shitty.
It sucks for the employees. It sucks for the customers. It sucks for the franchises, and the genre itself, because they were really kind of a front runner for that. And like you said, might have just taken on way too much because the money looked good.
Mm-hmm.
They were getting this franchise money.
I think they just got really excited.
Game of Thrones, Stranger Things. I mean,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Exactly.
I mean, they were trying to take on everything they could get their hands on. They're trying to be the fucking Funko Pop of games.
Yeah, and if you don't have the resources to do it, it's just it's hard to talk about, because all I want to do is rant about somebody made bad decisions, and that's really what it came to come down.
And that's the thing that sucks is, like, I have an affinity for Telltale for what they were, but this happened so sudden, and there's all these telltale signs of it growing into this, but it was being hidden pretty well, because I mean, I guess the first sign was that CEO leaving, and now it makes complete sense. I wish this was a little more apparent before it happened, because it's really interesting how quickly games that were in mid development are just done. Like, it's that quick. They didn't wind down like Capcom Vancouver.
For that.
Huh?
Right. I was just saying, you would think they would have budgeted and put that money aside for that project.
Yeah, I mean, they were talking about the Stranger Things game not that long ago.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they were literally, it feels like they were living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
Businesses can't do that.
Yeah, and it sounds like the people who were the last, because the thing I was reading was saying that the final financier that pulled out was Lionsgate, and if that was the final one, it means the other people had already pulled out. It means they were barely running shit off of one financier who apparently was a new one, and then they pulled out. So obviously there was something that scared them off.
Right.
So
it's crappy.
It's also interesting to Troy Baker, among a bunch of people, and hopefully Telltale obviously is the company that everybody's going to be talking about, but hopefully people don't overlook the Capcom Vancouver thing too.
For sure.
But Troy Baker was saying on Twitter that it's awful that all these talented people lost their jobs, and but he was saying that let's do what we do in this profession, and we look out for our own. And he's like, who needs jobs or whatever? Let's who's looking for people to work? Fucking spread the word and get these people hired. So it's just really cool that anytime this shitty stuff happens, there is an immediate reaction of people trying to help. You don't see that in a lot. I mean, in Hollywood, you, anything
You get
bad happens
ignored.
to you, people are fucking ready for you to be
Yeah, you're done.
destroyed. Yeah.
You know?
So it's
Yeah, it's
really
crazy. You get
interesting.
buried.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your competition to other actors, if you're an actor who's going down, I mean, like, there's no reason for people to save you, essentially. So it's weird. In
It
music
is, yeah.
industry, people love watching someone sink. But in games, it seems like when, I mean, Hideo Kojima, fucking, his whole thing with Konami, obviously he'd be fine regardless, but I mean, he turned into a fucking, he's always had notoriety, but I mean, he's become like a fucking giant celebrity after that.
Big time. Yeah, it's
I
crazy.
mean, sometimes it works positively, but it's a really cool thing to see the community in gaming in some way. Some people give it shit for being negative, but in other ways, it's a much more positive environment in the sense of
I think
support.
for sure, and I think a huge part of that is because the gaming community, a lot of people who start making these games, they start as kids who either played around on their home computers to learn how to make this, or they went to school for it, or whatever,
Mm,
and so they know what the bottom feels like. They worked their way up. Um, it's not
yeah,
really something you really walk into. Like that industry is something you have to be like part of from the
yeah.
bottom. Um, so
Well, and it's very highly team oriented, so you have to have a
big
lot of
time,
people to make a game. So, I mean,
hundreds,
big games, obviously indie games, you can have fucking 3 people, but even
one
then,
to two dudes. Yeah,
yeah. Anyway, we could probably talk about this forever, but
yeah,
this one was a little more interesting to talk about in the sense of the dynamic of how this happened, just because it was so quick. But there was all these things building up that were being held secret, and some things not so much. But overall, people losing their jobs sucks. I hope all these people get jobs in other places, especially with the talent that they had with the storytelling and the narrative driven gameplay. These guys need to go to games who are like lacking in storytelling and fucking teach them some
nice.
shit. And hopefully they do. Hopefully they get something going. As for Telltale as a company, I'm kind of disappointed and upset at them for letting this happen.
Yeah,
And I wish they were a little more hesitant and smart about their expansion. Because I mean, they just let go 225 people over trying to bring in more money. I mean, that's something I'd expect from like EA, and they're not EA, so sucks. It was definitely, this is somebody's fault for sure. This isn't the same thing with Capcom Vancouver and them doing the business thing and just shutting shit down. This is somebody who just fucked everything over. So it sucks.
yeah.
Anything else you want to say on that?
No, I'll just rant more.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about Telltale shutting down? What do you think about the games? Did you play them? Were you invested in them? Are you okay? Because you're just like, I wasn't playing them anyway, or I got what I wanted out of them. What was your favorite Telltale game? Let's talk about that. Mine was definitely season 1 of The Walking Dead, and season 2, I loved it. And Wolf Among Us, I really liked. Which one? What was your favorite, Chevy?
Definitely Walking Dead season one.
Yeah.
That was really good. Though Walking Dead season two didn't start as good. I think it really ends very well. So
It
uh,
ends fucking amazing.
yeah, so definitely really awesome series. Other than that, I had fun with other stuff, but I kind of enjoyed. And I know you and Chris weren't so into it, but the Borderlands one I thought was fun.
Yeah.
So
It's probably one of my least favorites. I thought the Game of Thrones one was done a little, well, not better because they're both fine, but I think I enjoyed that one a little bit more.
the other problem I had with the Game of Thrones one is like you kind of know what's going to happen just because it's based off of
Well, and
a
we
show.
covered that when we did it for Plus Club,
Yeah,
and that was something I think I brought up was
I think so.
the game would have been better played while the show was running during that time of release, and not playing that
Later,
after
yeah.
we'd already seen the show and know where things are going, because there's no element of surprise really. But
No.
anyway, yeah, I agree with the games you're saying. And yeah, let us know in the comments as well. what's your opinion on the events that led up to this? Why do you think it happened? Is there anyone to blame, or is this just nobody's fault? Let me know everything you're thinking about when it comes to Telltale. Anything I missed, let me know. Any updates, let me know. Everything comes to Telltale Games. That's going to do this episode of Tasty Tuesday on Tasty Gaming. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this episode. Check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook at Tasty Gaming. Check out my streams on Twitch at Tasty Senpai, all one word, or watch them on this channel. I do dual streams when I do stream. And yeah, Discord. We got a Discord link down below. Click that. Talk to us anytime, all the time. Been having some pretty good conversations in there recently. We're on podcast platforms, iTunes, Spotify, and other platforms, all down below. I believe there's 9 of them. And yeah, my name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And we will be doing Plus Club and Game of the Month at the end of this week, Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday. So look forward to that. Make sure to play those games because we will be talking about them. Let us know your opinions on those. But until then, have a good week, guys, and take it easy.